Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying deep into the heart of China, to a place shrouded in mystery and imperial grandeur, the Forbidden City in Beijing. This sprawling palace complex was the home of emperors for nearly 500 years, a city within a city, off limits to ordinary people. But even within this restricted world, there are places that remain hidden, locked away from public view. We're talking about secrets kept for centuries, and today, we're going to uncover one of the most intriguing of them all. A mysterious room, supposedly numbered 13, that has allegedly been sealed for 700 years. Is it a myth, or is there a truth behind this incredible story? Let's find out. First, let's set the stage. The Forbidden City, officially known as the Palace Museum, is an architectural marvel. It covers over 180 acres and contains more than 980 buildings with a supposed 9,999.5 rooms. The number itself is symbolic. 9 is a number representing the emperor. And the half room was a touch of humility, so as not to challenge the Jade Emperor in heaven, who was believed to have 10,000 rooms in his celestial palace. For centuries, this was the political and ritual center of China. Imagine gilded roofs, intricate carvings, and vast courtyards where emperors held court and made decisions that shaped the destiny of a nation. Millions of tourists walk its paths every year, but much of the palace remains closed to the public. Restoration work is constantly ongoing, and many areas are simply too fragile or private to be opened. This very fact fuels countless legends and stories. And that brings us to the legend of room number 13. The story goes that deep within the Forbidden City, there's a specific room that has been sealed for centuries. The number 700 years is often thrown around, which is interesting because the Forbidden City itself was constructed in the early 1400s during the Ming Dynasty, making it about 600 years old, not 700. This little discrepancy is our first clue that we might be dealing more with folklore than hard fact. The legend often suggests that this room was part of the original palace complex built on the site by the Yuan dynasty's Mongol rulers, which predates the Ming construction. That could explain the 700-year timeline. So, what is supposedly inside this forbidden room? The theories are as wild and varied as you can imagine. One of the most popular and spooky tales is that the room is haunted. Some say it was the site of a gruesome murder, a tragic betrayal, or the suicide of a royal concubine. The spirit, unable to rest, is said to haunt the chamber, causing misfortune to anyone who dares to enter. To contain this malevolent energy, the room was sealed by imperial decree, with powerful talismans placed on the door to keep the ghost trapped inside forever. This is a classic ghost story trope. And given the long and often bloody history of the imperial court, it's not surprising that such tales would arise. Another theory, leaning more towards the historical and political, is that the room contains a great treasure or a dangerous secret. Perhaps it's the hidden tomb of a forgotten prince, or a vault containing a priceless artifact so valuable that successive emperors decided it was safer to lock it away than to risk it being stolen or lost. Some even speculate that it holds a secret treaty, a document that could rewrite Chinese history, or evidence of a major political conspiracy that had to be buried, literally and figuratively. Imagine a lost imperial seal, or a testament that challenges the legitimacy of an entire dynasty. Locking it away would be the only way to maintain stability. The idea of a hidden treasure is always captivating, and the Forbidden City is known to have housed countless riches. A third, more practical theory suggests the room isn't sealed because of ghosts or treasure, but for structural reasons. It could be that the room is in a state of severe disrepair, so dangerously unstable that entering it would risk collapse. Over the centuries, earthquakes, fires, and general decay have taken their toll on the palace. It is entirely plausible that a particular chamber suffered damage so catastrophic that the imperial architects decided the safest and cheapest option was simply to brick it up and forget about it. This is a far less romantic explanation, but it's often the most logical one. Restoring ancient wooden structures is an incredibly delicate and expensive process. Now, let's get to the big question. Does Room 13 actually exist? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. When you ask experts and historians at the Palace Museum about room number 13, you'll likely be met with a polite but confused look. There is no official record or map of the Forbidden City that designates a room number 13. The rooms in the palace aren't numbered in a simple, sequential way, like a modern hotel. They are identified by the names of the palaces, halls, and courtyards they belong to, such as the Hall of Supreme Harmony or the Palace of Heavenly Purity. The idea of a single, numbered room is a very Western concept. So the legend of a specific Room 13 is almost certainly a modern myth, likely originating from internet forums and creative storytelling. But wait, don't click away just yet. Just because Room 13 is a myth, it doesn't mean there aren't sealed and inaccessible rooms in the Forbidden City. In fact, there are many. As I mentioned earlier, a significant portion of the palace is closed off. One of the most famous examples is the western side of the city, which includes many residences of concubines and empress dowagers. For a long time, this entire area was closed. When parts of it were finally opened after extensive restoration, it was like stepping back in time. One specific area that has long been a source of fascination is the Palace of Established Happiness, or Jianfugong. This area was a beautiful garden complex built by the Qianlong Emperor. In 1923, a mysterious fire completely destroyed it. The last emperor, Puyi, believed that the fire was set deliberately by eunuchs who were stealing treasures from the palace and wanted to burn the evidence. For decades, the area was just a pile of ruins, completely sealed off. It was only in the early 2000s that it was fully rebuilt, but it remains a private club and is not open to the general public. So, here we have a real place, sealed for nearly a century due to a dramatic and mysterious event. Furthermore, there are entire sections, particularly in the northern residential quarters, that are still undergoing painstaking, decades-long restoration. These areas contain buildings that have been untouched for generations. Inside, conservators find objects exactly as they were left when the last emperor departed in 1924. These are real-life, sealed chambers, time capsules holding the secrets of the final days of the Qing dynasty. For example, the Palace of Longevity and Health, the residence of the Qianlong Emperor's mother, was closed for decades before being opened as a gallery. Inside, everything was preserved, offering an unparalleled glimpse into imperial life. So, what can we conclude about the legend of Room 13? It appears to be a fascinating piece of modern folklore, a ghost story that combines the real mystery of the Forbidden City, its closed sections, with the spooky allure of a haunted chamber. There is no historical basis for a specific room numbered 13 that has been sealed for 700 years. The timeline doesn't fit, the numbering system is wrong, and museum officials don't recognize the story. However, the spirit of the legend is very much real. The Forbidden City is a place with countless locked doors and hidden corners. Behind these doors are not necessarily ghosts, but real stories of political intrigue, personal tragedy, and the quiet decay of time. There are real places that were sealed off due to fires, structural instability, or simply the end of an empire. The truth, in this case, is that the entire Forbidden City is a collection of thousands of forbidden rooms, each with its own story waiting to be told.